Hi guys, welcome to the Ink Warriors YouTube channel. My name is Kalila Black. I am the author of the For Better or Worse series and the Unbreakable series, both of which are dropping this year. Fun fact about me, before I decided to become an author, I was a licensed cosmetologist, which means that my first love ever was makeup. Unfortunately, life and children happened. Not that my children are unfortunate. Came out sounding wrong. But just life got in the way, and my hobby, which was putting on makeup, kind of fell to the wayside, and the industry moved right along without me after I kind of left. And so when I decided to pick it back up, very recently, in fact, it's all changed. So I decided that I was going to relearn how to do makeup. So here we are. I decided to put my two most favorite things in the entire world together, which is obviously doing my makeup and reading. So we're gonna do a book review while I do a makeup look that matches the cover of the books that I'm gonna be talking about today, which because normally, I don't know what I'm gonna do normally, but typically I would probably only do one book at a time, but I read both of these and the second two are coming out this year. So we're going to do both at the same time. So we are going to do the Crave series. This is Tracy Wolff. This is published through Entangled Teen, I believe. Yep, Entangled. So we're going to talk about that while I do this. Just so you know, off camera, I already did all of my skincare, which includes a moisturizer, an under eye cream to tighten any bags, a sunscreen typically if I'm going to go outside, and also a face primer. So we're going to jump right in and start talking about these books. So the first book, just kind of general, spoiler alert, I'm definitely going to give spoilers. If you don't like spoilers and you have not read this book, this is not the place for you, because I'm going to get into it. So, in the beginning of this book, you meet the main female character. Her name is Grace. Grace is, I would say, I don't even remember if the book ever, legitimately gave her age, but, sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Obviously, I can't keep them on while I'm doing this, and so I can't really see, so I'm gonna have to use a smaller mirror occasionally. So Grace is coming to this boarding school in Alaska, and I guess her uncle is the headmaster of it or whatever, so she's gonna be living with her cousin and her uncle. There's no mention of an aunt. You have no idea, did she die, did she abandon? I don't remember an aunt ever being mentioned. If the aunt was mentioned, it was so inconsequential that I don't remember it. So there's that. She gets there, she's not there 10 minutes before she meets who is very obviously the main male character, whose name is Jackson. So Jackson is very he blows hot and cold. I'm saying Katy Perry in my head whenever Jackson is on the page, because he hardcore, he doesn't know if he's coming or going, or at least that's kind of the impression that I got. Literally, another spoiler alert, I'm probably gonna curse because she curses in the book, so sorry. He literally tells her, get the fuck out. and she still is like attracted to him, and I don't know what that is. I am not into abuse from people that I find attractive. So Jackson was not doing it for me in that precise moment. After she meets Jackson, things, like, weird things keep happening, and people keep, like, stuttering around her. Like, they go to say one thing, and then they cut themselves off. Which, like, it happens, like, with increasing frequency. So I don't understand how she doesn't notice that or question it. It's whatever, girl. Do you. Be blind, I guess. Sorry, I'm picking out my brushes. So, after the initial, like, meet between her and Jackson, she meets another character named Flint, who kind of gives, like, vibes, like, he wants her to think that he's into her. In fact, at one point, he even makes a comment, like, when I come on to you, it'll be because you want me to, or something to that effect. Something that very much led me to believe that in the second book, Flint was going to be, like, the person that locks with Jackson for her affection. Because it's a YA romance, you know that there's going to be some form of a triangle in there somewhere. So it was not a surprise to me when all of a sudden she is being wooed by this other guy while still being, like, super hot for Jackson. You find out, like, through the entirety of it, like, there are 2 separate plots going on to kill her. And it turns out that one of the plots that's going on that is, you know what? Let me do this first. That's probably going to kill her is being perpetrated by Hudson. Well, rather Hudson's girlfriend. And Hudson is Jackson's dead brother. He's dead because Jackson killed him. So that's the plot to kill her. Neither plot to kill her works out. And so when the book ends, you think that her and Jackson are, like, getting ready to have, like, some happy moments. And then Hudson, who has been resurrected by the plot of his ex-girlfriend to bring him back to life, is what's going on. A ghost form of him tries to decapitate Jackson, and Jackson, in order to save Jackson, Grace jumps in between Jackson and the sword blade that's coming out his head, and then it cuts off, and then it picks up, and you find out it's in Jackson's point of view, and you find out that Grace is not, in fact, the human that you thought she was. She is, of course, a gargoyle. Let me tell you, I had all kinds of WTF moments with this, which we'll get into. First and foremost, the first thing that I want to say is that the writing in the book is technically very good. There is good descriptive language, great dialogue. I love Grace and Jackson have this, like, thing where they tell each other, like, cute jokes, like corny, like, dad jokes. And it is, like, super, super cute. I love it. I liked Jackson after he, like, loosened up a little bit and, like, stopped being really rude. And I don't necessarily hate Grace, but I don't love her either. So here's the thing. The first, like, automatic, I'm reading this and it automatically pulled me right out of what I was reading is, so the way that they describe Alaska in this book. And now let me preface this by saying I've never been to Alaska. It is on my bucket list. I've not ever been, and very clearly neither has this author. I'm so sorry. The way that she describes it, girl, you could have Googled. Like, there are just some very obvious, like, that's not a thing moments with her describing, like, the landscape and things that go on. And so that was the first thing that got me. The second thing is that it took literally until, I want to say it was like the last third of the book, maybe even more, for Grace to find out that all of these people that are in this boarding school are supernatural beings. I don't know about you, however, I am not that dumb. The first time that somebody started saying the word dragon and cut themselves off, I would have been like, who what now? What? I don't like that. And then her reaction to finding out that everybody around her is like a supernatural being. Again, like, girl, if I found out that the dude that I was dating or that I wanted to date, and my cousin and my uncle and this friend that I've made, all the friends I've made, all of these people around me are vampires and dragons and witches, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't, like, eventually come to terms with it, but I wouldn't automatically be like, okay, like, there would definitely be an adjustment period and probably a freak out, and she never had that moment, which I found to be not believable, like, at all. Thinking. Another thing that bugs is, okay, so at the end of the book, when it's in Jackson's point of view, you find out that Grace is Jackson's mate, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying that I have anything against, like, mating lore or mate lore or the act of mating or, like, anything like that. What bothered me is Jackson, even after finding out that she was his mate, first of all, was still rude to her. And then on top of it, so it basically explains, like, the whole mating ritual is he touches her. And when he touched her, the mate bond formed. First of all, let me just unpack all of this here. That feels to me all types of rapey. Where is the consent, first of all? I feel like I can't be 100% behind it because Grace literally had no choice. And furthermore, do you know what it made me think of? For those of you that are, like, late 80s, early 90s babies like myself, think back to, I want to say it was, like, the late 90s, so, like, 1990, between, like, 98 and 2000, I can't remember exactly, but Elmo and Grouchland. The only reason I remember this movie is because my oldest nephew was obsessed with it. But in this movie, there is a character, and his name is Huxley, and he is hella selfish, and literally, like, how he handles things is, like, he goes, bing, I own it. And that's what the mating lore in this made me think of. It made me think of, bing, I own it. I feel like there are better ways for you to, like, mystically attach these two people to each other. And then my last, like, really, like, I really can't stand this for this book was the fact that his name is Jackson. So the reason that this ticks me off is not because, I'm gonna actually just check something real quick. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can't see, like, but maybe 3 inches in front of my face. So if I need to see anything, I have to put my glasses on. Here's the thing. She specifically mentions at the end of book 1 that Jackson is 100 years old. 100 years old, Jackson, Jackson, was not a thing. That started fairly recently. The name Jackson itself was around typically as a surname, but never, ever spelled like that. So here's the deal. Like, is it a cool name? Hells yeah, it is. Jackson Vega is like the coolest name ever. I love it. It's a great name. What it is not is a name that would have been used 100 years ago. Now there are like ways that you could have still used this name while also explaining away like why it's used. You could do, like, there was a book about the Greek gods and goddesses, and they rename themselves every like 100 years or something to stay like relevant and hidden from like humanity. And so like I completely, okay, yeah, that makes sense. They're hiding from humans. You don't want humans to know that you exist. So, like, hells yeah. Like, use a newer, like, more fashionable sounding name. And if Jackson is going to look like he's, like, 17, 18, totally believable. That's not what she did. She never explains that away. It just is. Like, his name is Jackson Vega. Okay. But I can overlook all that. The storyline was interesting enough that it kept me wondering what was going to happen next, even though there were definitely things about it that I was not 100% sold on. I was glad that I bought both books at once because I didn't have to like sit and wonder like what the fuck. So yeah, so then I immediately jumped into book 2. Book 2 is called Crush, and it picks up in a very, very, very confusing place. I actually had to like go online and check the order of these dang books to make sure that I was actually reading book 2. It was that like jarring. It was very, very jarring. I was not a fan. So it picks up, and Grace is walking down the hallway, like, nothing has happened. Like, everything's fine. Like, you know, whatever. So, come to find out, Grace has been, like, locked in a gargoyle state for, like, 3 months. And she has no memory of this entire time. Not a dang bit of memory. Which... okay, like, there are many ways that you could explain that away. Like, that's fine. But then she sees Jackson for the first time since she's been gargoylized. And something about Jackson is, like, very off-putting to her all of a sudden. Like, he goes to kiss her, she pulls away. She feels like, and she doesn't know why. Automatically, I was like, okay, something is definitely going on. And I got, like, the strangest feeling, and I'm like, okay, so they're not going to put her with Flint. They're going to try to freaking put her with Hudson. It was my immediate thought. So, you kind of, like, find out as, like, things go on that Hudson is basically taking up room in Grace's head. Now, this is, like, the part from the first book that I forgot to mention. So, Hudson is dead. Hudson is dead because Jackson, his younger brother, killed him. Because Jackson thought that Hudson was basically a genocidal maniac and was, like, indiscriminately killing people for basically no reason except that he doesn't like their face. I don't know. So, you know, you've got that first layer, like, holy shit, she's got a homicidal maniac living in her head, which doesn't sound like a great time. And then also, like, Hudson makes very, like, when she can finally, so at first he just, like, body snatches her, but when he actually, like, can talk to her, he's like, oh my god, thank god, like, I've been trying to talk to you for forever, like, what is going on? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And right from the get-go, he makes, like, comments like he knows her way better than he should. So as time goes on, like, her and Hudson are, like, building this bond because, like, you know, he's in her head and she can see him. Like, she can see, I want to say it's not like an astral projection, but, like, okay, like an astral projection. Like, that's the closest that I can think to, like, what she's describing. And so you find out that he was body snatching her because there is a way to get his body back, and basically, like, bring him back to life. And it requires, like, 4 different objects. And that's what he was doing every time because he wants, and he tells her, like, I've been trying to talk to you, like, this entire time. Like, everything that I've been doing, like, there's a reason behind it. I'm not, like, who you think I am. I'm not the way that you think I am. And so, I'm just gonna take this. Okay. So she and Hudson and Jackson reluctantly, and her cousin Macy, and a few other of their friends are all, like, doing everything that they can to get these items so that they can boot Hudson out of her head. And you find out that if you get a 5th item, so if they find this elusive 5th item that you have to kill this unkillable beast to get, that it will bring Hudson back, but it will bring him back as a human. So they can get him out of her head without, like, risking, you know, releasing a genocidal maniac, basically. Not 100% sure how I feel about this foundation, guys. So my main problem with this book, actually, no, I have several problems with this book. I'm so sorry. My main problem is Jackson's age. This was the very first, like, problematic thing that I noticed. Remember, I specifically said at the end of book 1, she specifically says that he is 100 years old. He literally says, I'm 100 years old. Not, like, a chapter or 2 into the second book, she refers to him as centuries old. Like, like, more than 1 century. And I was like, well, wait a second. Like, I'm very confused because I'm very confused. And then, like, again, a couple chapters later, he was back to being just 1 century old. So the inconsistencies took me out of the story. I hated the inconsistencies. I wish that they had been far less than they are. Another thing, again, I'm gonna harp on the same point. Their names, Hudson and Jackson, not old-timey names. Why do they have, like, modern names when this has not been, like, explained at all? And then there's Flint. So remember I said in the first book, I was, like, sure. I was absolutely sure that they were headed towards, they were going to hook up, or try to hook up, rather, Grace and Flint. So, fun story, you find out in the middle of the book that Flint is gay. And that he's in love with Jackson. I have two problems with this. First of all, you're setting up throughout the entire book that there is something going on with Jackson and Grace's mate bond, that there's just, it's headed towards a not great area. My problem with this is that there was no in fact, there was very good indication that Flint is not gay and that he was into Grace. I don't dig this. See, here's the thing. Do I care if a character is gay? Of course not. There are gay people everywhere. You should have gay characters in your book. It makes it real life. It makes it a reflection of real life. And it also gives minority people and also people of different sexual orientations a sense of belonging to see people that reflect them in your books. That's great. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. More power to you. However, it felt to me like she shoved him in there and then twisted him into the token gay character just to suit, like, so that she could, I guess, like, draw in readers from that demographic. I don't like that. I don't like that. It feels, first of all, like lazy writing to me. It also feels like you're doing just that. You're targeting a demographic, not because you care about them in any meaningful way, but because you want their money. Do better. Be better. There's nothing else that I can say about that. So that bothered me. Also, so she introduces these characters. Token gay character, don't like it. Oh, she also did this thing where she introduced characters, like, in the first couple pages, she's like, here's Gwen. Gwen is my cousin Macy's best friend. And I'm like, then where was Gwen in book 1? Like, I don't remember Gwen being mentioned at all in book 1. And then there's this other character. His name is Xavier. Xavier is a werewolf. You get, like, so a little bit of backstory. Like, Macy had a boyfriend in the first book. She does not have a boyfriend now, but she likes Xavier. That's kind of how he ends up, like, part of the group. I actually really liked Xavier. I thought he was a really good character. He was super cute with Macy. And I like how willing he was to help all of them. My problem came in when she killed him. She kills him. The reason that I have a problem with this is because she literally threw him at you in just one book, because he was not in the first book, or at least he was not mentioned by name in the first book, even though he supposedly is there. And so she basically put him in there to kill him. And I just have, like, the biggest problem with that. Again, lazy writing. Put your characters in there. Build, like, a connection to these characters. Because then, when you kill them, like, it breaks my freaking heart. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I get super emotionally attached to fake, like, characters. But the deal is, like, when they've been around for 2 books before they die, then I have, like, I'm mourning, like, a friend that I have had, versus, like, it's just kind of put in for shock and awe value. I don't like that. Don't kill characters for shock and awe. That's not a thing that we do, or at least it's not a thing that we should do, because it's really lazy writing. I don't like it. So there's that. So it gets to the end of the book, and it is, like, blatantly, like, clearly obvious that shiz is about to go down. This werewolf that has, like, a serious vendetta against Jackson and Grace. Jackson kind of, like, tries to drain him of blood in the first one because he finds out that he's, like, behind a plot to try to, like, hurt Grace. So he's got a major vendetta, and he ends up finding this spell that Jackson actually went and got in the first book that breaks the mate bond. And he ends up saying the spell and, like, forcibly breaking their mate bond. So Grace is about to do this, like, trial thing that's being given to her by Jackson and Hudson's parents to earn a circle on the governing body of the paranormal world. Okay. So this is the, I guess, issue that I have with it. So they don't get the fifth item. They do not find the fifth item. Or rather, they do find it, and Grace refuses to take it because it would mean killing the only other gargoyle in existence. So she won't do it. So, she ends up... Sorry, I'm trying to sort through everything that I've already used to get it out of my way. She tells Hudson, like, I have to go in, I have to do this trial, I don't want you to die with me, so I am just going to let you go. I believe you when you tell me that you're not a genocidal maniac, and I really, like, you know, I don't want you to have to die with me if I die. So she ends up doing the spell to get Hudson out with the 4 items, and Hudson pops out of Grace, and he is at this point, so he tells her that he left all of his, like, supernatural powers behind in her. That's one of the things that I forgot. So these vampires, they have, like, supernatural powers. So, like, Jackson is telekinetic, and Hudson, you find out, has this, like, power. Has the power of persuasion. Like, anything that he tells somebody to do, they have to do it. Well, then you find out that it's not his only power, that he also has the power to basically disintegrate things with his mind. So he tells Grace, like, I left my power behind. If you need it, use it. He actually basically says that he, like, imprinted it on his favorite memory that belongs to her. And it's a memory of her mom teaching her how to ride a bike. So Grace goes into the arena. She does this challenge. She ends up winning the challenge, which means that she earns a right to a seat on the circle, I think it's called. I can't remember. Obviously, you see what an impression it made. Anyways, so she wins the right to a seat on the circle, except that Jackson and Hudson's dad, is like, hey, you cheated. You weren't supposed to have help because you don't have a mate anymore. Which basically tells you that he was the one behind giving the werewolf the spell to break the mate bond in the first place. Which is, like, all well and fine, whatever. But then, you know, Hudson says, no, she didn't cheat. And as soon as he said that, I was like, because you mated with her. Like, bing, I own it. I just knew it. I knew it. So, Grace ends up bitten by, their dad bites her. So here's the other, like, vampire kicker here, is that vampires can choose what they want their bite to do. So, like, if they want their bite or their saliva to heal somebody, it can do that. If they want to turn somebody into a vampire, they can do that. Again, I don't like that. You're messing with basic vampire lore that has been around for hundreds of years at this point. Like, I just don't like it. It feels unbelievable to me. It feels like you're just trying to be sensational. It feels like you're trying to pull a Stephanie Meyer and make shiz sparkle, and it's not. So he bites Grace. Their dad does. I can't remember what his name is. I can't remember what the dad's name is. He bites Grace. Grace is dying because his vampire bite, their dad, can decide to kill people with his bite. So Grace is dying. She's lying there, you know, in pain. She's dying. Jackson comes over. They're like, you know, having a I'm dying moment. He tells her that even without the mate bond, he loves her. She's like, I love you too. But this bothered me because, like, in her head, like, she tells him, like, yes, I love you too. But then, like, in her head, she's saying, like, it's just not the way that I used to love you. And I'm like, first of all, y'all knew each other for, like, 2 weeks. Like, the entire scope of, like, the first book happens in, like, 2 weeks. Which is, like, girl. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't, like, if you aren't in love with him anymore, like, just tell him, like, Jesus. Like, I get that you're teenagers, but, again, like, do better. Be better. Well, Hudson is obviously, he's not going to let her go that easily. So he picks her up and he takes her, and Macy, her cousin, and Jackson are, like, trailing along behind. And so he takes her somewhere on the grounds. And then, like, okay, this bothered me because there's no explanation to it. He buries her in rock. Like, he digs a grave and then has Jackson bury her in, like, stones, and somehow her body absorbs these stones, and then she's healed. So she becomes the only person to have ever survived their dad's bite. Y'all, when I say that I was literally staring at the page going, what? No, like, that's not how that works. I mean, like, I literally was, like, talking to myself, telling myself these things. Not normal, not, that is not it, girl. So then, after she miraculously survives this vampire bite, then you know, they think that she's gonna live, everything's fine, so they think, and then Hudson gets his crowning moment when, after, like, Jackson is, like, holding her, and, like, he's, like, so excited that she's gonna live and everything's gonna be just fine. And Hudson is like, hey, Jackson, get your hands off my mate. Actually, I believe he says to get your fucking hands off my mate. So, like, he means it. And I was like, yep, called it, knew it from, like, the first time Jackson tried to kiss her. She was like, yeah, I knew it. I have only read one other series that did the love triangle with a set of, like, biological brothers, and it was the Soul Screamers series which, okay, I say that I read the series. What I really mean is I read the first 4 books of the series because she ends up swapping brothers, and she was like, she went on and on and on and on and on about how great the younger brother is, and then like ended up with the older brother, and like they turned the younger brother, or yeah, she ended up with the older brother, and they basically were like, oh, the older brother or younger brother, dang, see, why you don't do brothers, like basically turned into an asshole. And I'm like, okay, but why? Like, people don't just change like that overnight, you know what I'm saying? I forgot to make that point. On the point of people not changing overnight, Jackson, the character of Jackson in the first book and the character of Jackson in the second book were worlds apart. Jackson was very broody and dark, and kind of like everybody was afraid of him in the first book, and then in the second one, like he's goofy and he jokes around and like he's best friends with everybody, and he also starts to make like misogynistic, like I need to take care of you, like comments to Grace, and I was like, I get that she's trying to make it okay that it's like his brother that she's getting fresh with, but it's not okay. Please don't change your characters like that. Just like, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. That's a lie. I have read one other series that had a set of brothers, and that actually, so like the Soul Screamer series did the same thing this one that the Crave series did, and basically changed the younger brother completely to make it okay for her to be with the older brother. I hate that, guys. I hate it. 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 Don't do it. The other series that I read that had 2 brothers was the Tiger's Curse series by Colleen. I'm probably going to butcher this last name. I'm sorry. Hawk? Something like that. I will eventually do a review on that series because holy shit, is it so good. It's such a good series. And the thing is, like, at some point, she is with both brothers. And it was the only time in my entire freaking life that I did not hate it. And I genuinely, like, I wanted her with one specific brother, but I genuinely was like, if she ends up with the other one, like, I can't even be mad because I like them both. But the thing is, like, she didn't change the character to make it okay. Like, they were both wonderful, and it was like, it was almost painful to watch this character to decide who she wants to be with, because, like, they are both great. Both great options, both great for her, both great to her. That's how you do that. Like, that is, if you're gonna do a triangle, please, for the love of God, make all the characters involved, like, great and fun and nice and wonderful. Like, please stop changing your characters just to suit, like, a plot point. It really, really irks me. Like, it just grinds my gears. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the look while I just tell you, like, my last thoughts. Like I said, there were some things about the series that were successful. Then there were other things that were less so. I wish that, even though, like, I feel like it should have been done, like, from the get-go, I wish that she would retcon some of the, like, world-building problems that I noticed. Like, why do Jackson and Hudson have so much modern names? I also wish that there was better character development with some of the side characters, and also Grace. So even though I don't hate Grace by the end of it, I am also, like, not in love with Grace. I feel like Grace is, how do I say this kindly, a doormat. Grace is a doormat. Just, like, whatever the people around her, like, want. Like, when they go to kill the unkillable beast, like, Grace flat out says, like, no, like, let's just make Hudson again. Like, let's just bring him back as a vampire. Like, I don't think this is a good idea. She basically, as soon as Jackson almost gives her, like, an ultimatum, she's like, okay, like, that's fine, I guess. Everybody else wants to do it, so that's what we'll do. I'm like, no, girl, like, if you really feel that strongly about it, don't do it. Don't enable other people to do it. Also, as far as, like, Flint goes, turning him into the token gay character, please don't, now that you've broken, like, the mate bond between Jackson and Grace, like, I'm gonna be, like, really mad if they put Flint and Jackson together, for the sole fact that, A, like, it's really weird that they're, like, already back to being, like, super good friends anyways, because they couldn't stand each other in the first book. Shoot. And also, like, there was no indication whatsoever at any point that Jackson is gay, bisexual, anything like that. Like, there's no indication of it. And I really feel like at this point, doing that is really just more like you're paying lip service to a minority group of people without actually, like, doing anything to support or further their cause. So, like, I will probably, like, hardcore rage if she puts Jackson and Flint together, just because it feels like a damn publicity stunt to me. Stunt. Ugh. I can talk, I swear. Not that you know it, but English is actually my first language. So that's kind of, I guess, how I feel about that. I think those are ways that she could improve upon the series. Will I read the rest of the books now? Yes, I will. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. I'm gonna read the rest of the books. Sorry, there's gonna be some awkward pauses here because lips. I'm gonna read the rest of the books because it's like watching a goddamn train wreck. Things about it ticked me off so much. And then other things about it, like, I loved. Like I said, like, I love Jackson and Grace's banter. I thought it was great. I will say that at this juncture, however, I do like Grace better with Hudson than I do with Jackson. I am probably going to be Team Hudson on this one. That has more to do with like who I am as a person though, because I'm all about the tortured, misunderstood. And not Jackson, Hudson is very much misunderstood, like, by everybody. And I kind of just want to see, like, something good happen to him for once. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that. I'm going to go, I'm actually not going to go off camera. What we're going to do is my good friend Paula is going to edit off the camera. Me putting on falsies. I am not great at this yet. However, I am trying. Oh, I didn't put any of my highlighter on either. Just so anyway, yeah, I'll more than likely finish the books because Trainwreck. I want to see where she takes it. I want to see if there's any way for her to redeem all of the things that I didn't like about it. I'm hoping that she does, quite frankly, because there was enough about the story that was decent to make it, in my opinion, worth saving. So, yeah. All right. So this is, I'll check my teeth. This is the final finished look. Hold on. Make sure everything looks good here. Yep. Okay. So there is, this is our look to match Crave. Alright guys, thank you so much for sticking around for this awkward ass shit show, and we hope that you will come back next week and watch me do another one of these super awkward shit show videos. Hopefully next week's will go a little smoother, and also I will get better at this with time. If you are interested in any of the products that I used today, we will put a list of all of them in the description. And yeah, that's it. Everybody have a fantastic day. Thanks. Bye.